Good evening, Taurus. So, for all you bulls out there, I am going to do a 2020 forecast for you using this Lenormand deck. And we're also going to be using a tarot deck to clarify, and then an oracle deck for like a final piece of advice. And then I'm going to be using this dice as well with the oracle deck. I'll show you later. Let's get right to it, to your 2020 forecast. So for those of you who don't know about Lenormand, I'm just going to explain while I'm shuffling. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it originated in France during Napoleonic times, and I mean, I think it's pretty popular in Europe, not so much in the US, I don't think. But if you want to know more about that, you can probably just look it up. Google, the history of Lenormand, or Madame Lenormand, or just Lenormand, and it should pop up in Google, and you could read up a little bit more about it. It's pretty similar to tarot, but maybe slightly more straightforward, a little bit more practical, but I'll show you, obviously, very soon. Okay, so what do we have for Taurus in the year of 2020? What do we have for Taurus in the year of 2020? Okay, let's get started. So I'm just gonna lay out the cards. Ooh, okay. Lay out the cards, and I'm not gonna show you each card, but I'm gonna show you, because that'll take probably too long, but I'll show you some important ones, at least that I think are important, that pop out, and then you can shed light on that using the tarot deck that I have here to my right. But I'm gonna lay out these cards. Okay, so let's see what we have. So in Lenormand, I just wanted to explain, there's some character cards, but this being a genderless general reading, like this isn't necessarily just for females or for males, or it's not gendered. So I'm gonna just use the character cards as just kind of like a general sort of guide. All right, so it looks like in the beginning, maybe the beginning half, or maybe the beginning quarter of 2020, I see love happening here very, very boldly with this heart. So there's gonna be maybe like a bit of a crush, or somebody's gonna have a crush on you. There's gonna be like a sweet sort of like lovey-dovey, maybe something serious, but I'm not entirely sure yet. It's gonna be something romance related for sure. Actually, okay, I think maybe, yeah, there's gonna be something happening with that a little bit more, because with this stork card, this represents like the start of something new, or the launching of something, like a new idea, or like project or partnership, or just the launching of something new. And I think that's gonna come out of this this romantic initiative in the beginning of the year. And then we have this house card. So this represents like family, tradition, or just a feeling of home, which I know is important to you Taurus people. I know home is very important. So it's gonna be, yeah, so romance, the launching of something new, maybe like a new relationship or a new romance. Maybe you're dating somebody new, possibly you're already dating somebody, but then at the beginning of the year, there's maybe going to be like the launching of a relationship, possibly, or things getting slightly more serious than they were. And then that's going to maybe bring you to, like, I think, just intuitively, I think maybe like if you as a Taurus, like, you value your home, and like possessions are important to you to a certain extent, and then home is, or house, home, your family, like things like that are kind of a part of it, like your hearth. And I see that this relationship is going to kind of go into that territory, which is obviously good for you Taurus bulls out there, because that's important to you. Here we have spirituality, some form of like psychic, like spirituality. I know Taurus isn't traditionally traditionally seen as an extremely intuitive sign, like water signs are. I mean, water signs are deeply intuitive, but it seems like here you are gonna have like a flash of some form of intuitive energy going on after that sort of romantic endeavor going into like that home, like hearth kind of territory. And then here we have, so the ring represents promise. And this is somewhere in the beginning, once again, of the year, towards the beginning half. I think that relationship is going to launch into something new, becoming more like traditional, maybe more like going to that home territory. And you're going to get a spark of intuition represented by this card here, once again, spirituality, psychic abilities that you may not normally be accustomed to having always, and then that's going to lead to a promise here represented by the ring. I don't know if it's engagement or maybe if it's just like, hey, do you want to be exclusive, or do you want to be in a committed relationship with me? Or maybe it could be as simple as this person buying you literally a ring or a little gift, like a little promise, what is it, like a token of their promise to you, like their heart is promised to you, possibly. And then in the middle of the year, so we have these birds. This usually means, I think this usually means gossip. Yeah, I think this card means gossip. So maybe there's going to be, or not necessarily gossip, but like people, a lot of talking, communicating, going back and forth between either you to other people or other people, doing that with you, like communicating with you pretty heavily. We have this rider, so once again, this is genderless, but I use it as a guide. So I think this might represent you as a Taurus. You're pretty headstrong, like you, we'll show you the rider card, but you're pretty headstrong, and I know you like charge after things, kind of much like, I guess, a rider, and represented in this card on a horse. And you're going to be, it looks like, so this moon card represents the subconscious. So if you're as a bull, as a Taurus, you're very headstrong. You're going to be heading head first into, I think, realizing your inner truth or something going on in your subconscious. You are going to chase after that. You're going to charge after that, actually, and that's going to lead to the opening of something here. So I'm getting actually a lot of romantic vibes in your reading. I don't know if that doesn't usually happen that much in a general reading, but I'm getting a lot of like romantic, like crushes, the starting of like new romantic endeavors, and then like a promise, and then now I'm getting like maybe like with the birds. If you go back to the birds, like you're getting people maybe like talking to you about it, or maybe you like seeking advice from other people about this romantic endeavor, and then you're gonna, in the middle of the year, so this is the middle of the year once again, you're gonna be like charging after what you truly feel inside, and that's gonna open up something like a portal inside. I mean, Taurus, I know you're kind of like guarded sometimes, like you can be guarded sometimes, but you're gonna open up, just digging deep inside your intuition, you're gonna open up something, and that's gonna lead to, okay, so this card represents, I mean, it can also represent comfort. This isn't used in a traditional Lenormand deck. I think this is something that's been added to this particular deck, but this does represent like maybe like one step above romance in terms of like physical chemistry, maybe some, heated activity in the bedroom. So hopefully those of you out there are old enough. Okay, so, kissing, making out, whatever it is, like, you're going to open up something within your subconscious to open up that key, and to that romantic, maybe like that inner bowl inside you. Open up that chemistry. And at the end of the year, we have, so we have this like feminine, well, once again, this is genderless, but this is a feminine character card, and she's looking at the sun here. This is like happiness, maybe, feeling rewarded. It's definitely a positive card, but she's looking at the sun. So towards the end of the year, you're going to be in a happy place. It looks like, Taurus. and you're going to be very stable, represented by this anchor here. And that's going to lead to, you're going to have to make a choice at the end of the year, represented by these crossroads here. So you're going to have to make a choice. But that choice is going to ultimately, at the very end of 2020, lead to the starting of maybe like a family, or like new people in your life, new network, new friends, new associations, which is always a positive thing. Wow. Okay, so Taurus, you have a lot of positive romantic energy in 2020, which I'm pretty surprised because it doesn't usually tend to happen as much in a general reading. But that being said, this is a lot of romantic energy. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave these cards out and maybe like try to specify with these tarot decks, like with the cards being laid out. This tarot deck, excuse me. I'm going to try to like look at some details in the cards, like possibly with the romance going on in the first part of the year, and then that leading to going into like home, hearth, like traditional territory. I want to kind of see what's going on there. Okay, let me just shuffle until, okay, so this one kind of, actually a couple cards popped out. So we have here the Chariot and the Seven of Cups. So okay, so the Chariot represents balance, and then, so I think really you're gonna find maybe like a twin flame energy. Like you see with the Chariot, like it represents balance, but then it also represents, at least to me intuitively on a personal level, it can represent like a twin flame, or someone who could like possibly complete you, maybe like a soulmate or something, or someone who balances you out even in the beginning of the year with a crush or romance or relationship or dating. You're going to find that person that kind of completes you. And then with this, we have a lot of creative energy. This is the Seven of Cups, a lot of creative energy. But the advice with this card is to keep your wits about you, stay grounded. But there's going to be a lot of like creative energy flowing with these cups here, with the romance in the beginning of the year. And then, okay, so let's see what's going on with the rider, like you charging. Oh, okay, there you go. Head first into this like sort of chemistry, like strong chemistry, whether it be like, those of you who are a little too young, maybe just like kissing and, making out, but then, those adults out there, once again, adults, you're going to be, having some hot and heavy in the bedroom, possibly. But this is a strength card I see here. Okay, so intuitively I'm getting that, so you're going to be hearing a lot in the middle of the year from people, or maybe you're going to be seeking advice from a lot of people about this romantic endeavor, or maybe you may have like an influx of romance, but you're going to be communicating about it a lot with a lot of other people, and then you're going to charge head into like something that leads you to like kind of unleashing like your sort of like sensuality in some way. There's going to be strength required, I think, with that. Like maybe there's going to be strength required towards yourself in terms of like really unlocking that, like strength in terms of like trusting yourself. I think like trusting yourself to be that writer, to really like unlock that key when it comes to connecting with your own sensuality, which you would think with like Taurus, you wouldn't have a problem with that, because Taurus, you guys are known for sensuality, for it's just in your veins, it's natural. With that being said, maybe you've been struggling with that previously, or maybe you've been a little bit like low energy in that like aspect of yourself, Taurus. But this is the thing, it is going to require strength to connect with your inner like self, inner truth, inner sensuality, unlock that sort of like ability to like connect with someone on like a physical chemistry level, and then just trust yourself basically to charge ahead. And yeah, and like at the end of the year, I don't really think there's much to clarify, because at the end of the year, I see a woman like looking at the sun, very positive card, and then stability, and then making a choice. Wait, actually, let's clarify a little bit about that choice. It does say that, okay, that's the previous card that I pulled, but it does say that the choice is going to lead to like new associations, of some kind, like new, like a new network, new associations, new people in your life, possibly. But I want to clarify a little bit more for you because, okay, so Six of Pentacles here. Let me just make sure that I'm getting the right meaning for you when it comes to the Six of Pentacles. I'm just going to look it up really fast because I don't exactly remember exactly quite what that means. Part of me, let's look that up just 1 second. Okay, this is backwards, so I have to look the other way. Okay, so the miser clings to his goods with all his might. He can't move because he's holding on with his feet. This card is a hint to loosen your grip on material things in order to help restore the flow of creativity and energy. Actually, that really goes with this sort of like strength required in the middle of the year as well, in like kind of maybe letting go, like the aspect of letting go, embracing your sensuality, embracing like the natural physical chemistry that you feel within this romantic phase of your life, you know, letting go. And I think that's going to resonate towards the end of the year as well, letting go here. I mean, even with this woman at the end of the 2020 looking at the sun, the stability here, I think that's going to come from, once again, that sort of like letting go. You know, stability comes from embracing peace, I think, within yourself, like coming to terms with your inner self, embracing who you really are. And I think this is, yeah, it's really just saying like let go. And then obviously when it comes to decision making, go with your gut, don't think about it too much. Let go of that sort of Taurus. Taurus, I know that you have a sort of a tendency sometimes to not only like sort of not hoard, but you know, like collect and kind of hold on to like material possessions or people, or well, not necessarily people, but just like certain associations. But sometimes I think you have to kind of just like loosen your grip, especially when it comes to important decision making in your life. But nevertheless, it looks like at the very end of the year it's going to be positive. Because there's nothing negative about, well, usually about like new building like a new network, welcoming in new people or building new associations. And once again, it is your choice to continue or let it, you know, go with the flow. So you should probably, I can tell you right now, be wise about like be welcoming of the new associations that come in at the end of the year. But you know, it's just common sense to, you know, just be wary of what you let in, what you filter, you know, like filter it out, you know, be wise about it, be mature, and be smart about it. Okay, so last but not least, so I'm gonna be rolling this dice here, and then I'm gonna get like a last piece of advice from you from this oracle card. I'll show you how I'm gonna do it, but right now I'm just gonna roll the dice. Okay, so what do we have? What last piece of advice do we have for Taurus 2020, for the year of 2020? What piece of advice do we have for Taurus? So, okay, so we have 7. Okay, so we have the number 7. I don't know if that's going to be significant in some way in the year 2020. I'm going to be shuffling, and then I will pick the 7th card. So that is what the dice was for. I'll pick the 7th card among these oracle cards, and then we'll try to figure out that last piece of advice for you, Taurus, for the year 2020. Okay, so what advice, last piece of important advice do we have for Taurus for the year of 2020? Okay, so I'm just going to lay the cards out, and then I'm going to pick the 7th card. The intuition tells me to start from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so this really coincides with pretty much everything that we've seen with the Lenormand spread. So here we have Yang. So those of you who don't know the concept of Yin and Yang, I'll just explain it to you briefly. So Yin is traditionally seen as like a feminine sort of energy. Yang is masculine. Yin is usually more like receptive, intuitive, kind of like accepting, you know, basically receptive of like what comes at you. And yang energy is when is the complete opposite, which balances out yin, which is externalized, go. You're moving outwards with your energy. It's externalized. You're putting things out. And this is a card that, yang, it represents putting things out. So Taurus, with the romance in the beginning of the year, that romantic phase of your life, or actually the whole year is pretty romantic, I would say, but mostly in the beginning half, I think. But with those romantic endeavors that are going to be happening, this card, I think, is saying, if you feel confident about it, like, don't hesitate, like, fully charge ahead with your horns, because you're a Taurus. You like to charge ahead sometimes. You're very headstrong, but go ahead and do it. Like, I think this card is giving you permission to go ahead and do that. And once again, connecting with your inner self in the beginning of the year. This is once again saying, charge ahead. Like, be confident in what you feel is expressing your inner truth, and then just unlocking who you really are, and just embrace who you really are, Taurus. Just embrace it. So yeah, there's fiery energy. I would think that equates to full speed ahead. Be confident in your endeavors, whatever they may be. But in this case, it looks like it's gonna be a very romantic year for you, Taurus. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. So click like, comment, subscribe, and share if this resonated with you. And once again, if you have any questions, just leave a question in the comment box. You're free to do that. Yeah, so I'll see you later. Bye.